Mic'd up.
And welcome to Hoosier Weekly, an IU sports talk show hosted right here on Mic'd Up. My name is Gabe Jenkins, and joining me today is Campbell Manahan. How we doing?
Oh, we're doing phenomenal, Gabe. I mean, we are about to leave and go back home for spring break, and it is a great feeling. But we had to do one last show here in Bloomington for the fellas.
Absolutely. I mean, this show is going to be probably on the shorter end if I had to guess. There's kind of just a lot of sports wrapping up right now, or wrapping up, or just starting. So
Yeah,
there's kind of Ugh. But we're gonna talk as much as we can, and I'm so happy because we get to go home for a week, and the weather is nice. It feels like the vibes are just great right now. It's just a great vibe.
yeah,
Great spring
absolutely.
break coming up. You doing anything for spring break?
I'm going to Atlanta, just for a few days, just have some fun in Atlanta. It'll be a lot of fun.
Oh
You
yeah,
got anything
love.
going on?
I have nothing, but I'm gonna see my dogs for the first time in a few
Oh
weeks,
yeah.
so that's what I'm really looking forward to. Anyways, let's get right into this. Do you want to start with baseball or softball?
Let's do some softball first.
All right, let's run softball first. So softball, I think the last time we checked in, they just had their series against UNC Greensboro, and then
Yeah.
they were going on to Minnesota.
hmm
We had previewed that they should be winning against Minnesota, and they lost their first game 0-2. However, the next game they won 5-0, and then won the next one after that 6-4. So it's not like they lost out to Minnesota. They had an adjustment game, which sometimes you need to a Big Ten competitor. And after that adjustment game, they figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, just right in here, right away, they came out just with a complete dud against Minnesota. It happens. It was a 0-2 game. I think it was only 2 hits in the day also for IU, just an offensive no-show, which was
Yeah,
unfortunate. I think the key takeaway is that they clearly are a better team than Minnesota. I don't think we have to leave this thinking worrying at all that they aren't better than Minnesota.
absolutely
There's
not.
no worries about that at all. They are
Yeah,
better than Minnesota. Their offense did have, I think, their first cold weekend, or comparative to what they've been doing, at least. That was the coldest the offense has been all season long. Now, they did get a bounce back, I think, in terms of offense with the 14 run performance against Loyola. So that
hmm
so that is something to at least like feel a little bit better about. Maybe they've gotten the bats back to going, which they have a home series against Rutgers, I think, starting like actually soon today. But just
yeah,
yeah, so soon today. They
yeah.
overall, I just it's a tad bit concerning that the offense did go cold in the first time they played a Big Ten opponent.
Yeah, it's mildly concerning, but also it's good to recognize that they have been playing lesser opponents, and by switching to a higher tier opponent, that is going to be a difference. And you can kind of see how much of a dip they took based on the stat sheet. The stat sheet we looked at last week was just truly incredible, and they've taken a little bit of a hit. No one's above 500 anymore in batting average. But you know what? That's kind of what we expected when Big Ten play starts happening. Is that players will start to have their averages lessened down to more realistic numbers. But the numbers they have are still really good. Ali Van Brandt has a 494 average. A Cassidy Kettleman has 435. Avery Parker 422. Alex Cooper has 400. I mean, this is a really good team. Only two players are below 300. With batting averages, and it's a very good batting numbers from this team. Uh, Even the pitchers are not having extreme ERAs. They're pretty level. They're all under four. Only two people are above two ERA. Uh, this team is really good with what
Yeah.
they have,
Oh,
and they're
absolutely.
they're, they're going to make a name this year, I think.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be competitive in the Big Ten, I think, all season long, and a lot of that is to show you were reading off those averages. It 6 of those girls are all 24 for 24 on games played, games started, and
Yeah,
they all have above a 3.5. All of them, or sorry, above a 0.35 average.
yeah,
All of them have above that, and that's just something insane to be able to say. And 5 of the 6 of them have above a 1 OPS also. it has just been easy for them
Yeah,
so far this year. It's something you're probably going to see. These numbers will lower as they start to face more real opponents in the Big
yeah.
Ten season, but it is still really impressive what they have put up. And they are going to look to continue to do this all season long. And I mean, just hopefully put up one of the best seasons in IU softball history.
Yeah, I mean, IU softball is really poised to have a great defensive year with the fielding they have and the pitching they have. I mean, sticking around on the pitching a little longer, the the pitchers have done fantastic with the innings they're giving. I mean, they're Taylor Hess has 34 pitches or 34 innings pitched, and she's only got a 3 ERA, which, I mean, looking at the stat chart right now, the more innings you pitch, the more your ERA is, which is what you want to see because that's just kind of just how innings pitches worked. Because, like, the people that aren't pitching as much have like a 0 or a 1 ERA. The people that are pitching more have just less than a 4. And those are numbers that you can manage realistically.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd like to shout out there the one person that does break this is Ella Trout, has 41 innings pitched with a 1.85 ERA, 1.03 WHIP, so only allowing a base runner per inning. Just really impressive stuff from her as a whole, and she's also allowing an average of 2.24 for the hitters facing her, and that's
Yeah.
I mean that's well below the average, uh, below the average
Yeah.
for a softball player in college, and just really impressive stuff which she's been able to do all year. Has the most innings pitched in the team, has the second best ERA in the team, just been dominant all season.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible what this team is doing, and we absolutely are looking forward to what they're going to do next. I mean, they're going up to Rutgers, or is that home
It is
that they're
home. It
doing?
is on Andy Moore Field.
So yeah, they get that Rutgers series, and then they get to just kind of go on to this Big Ten conference play and hope for a terrific time and terrific wins, and they can just build on this season.
Absolutely, they can. I mean, just yeah. I mean, I think there's not a ton more we can say, but it's just
Yeah,
they're going to look to be extremely competitive. You're looking to at least win 2/3 of your Big Ten games. So once again, you got to go 2-1 basically in every series to do that, and to make it so you don't have to go 2-1 every series. Get a few sweeps in there so you can lose a series every once in a while. But just
absolutely.
overall, I think they should have a very favorable matchup against Rutgers, and hopefully they take full advantage of that. This is a team they can beat, and they have shown they can beat, and they just need to go out there 3 games, go take 2 of them at least.
Yeah, this 3 game series against Rutgers, and then they get IU Indy before they go to Maryland for their next series. I mean, it's a great setup for them for this next couple series to just have a good stretch of games. But we can move on now to IU baseball, who is now 7-9,
Mhm.
not having the terrific year that was maybe even hoped for, maybe expected. But this team is just kind of average right now. It's maybe even below average. They had the series against Washington. They won the first one 4-2 and then lost two straight, losing the second one 2-9 and the third one 4-13 in Bloomington.
Yeah, I it was it was a showing that is absolutely terrifying for what IU baseball might do in the Big Ten, because Washington's not that good in the Big Ten. They're a mediocre, middle of the road Big Ten team, and you. I mean, let's face it, you got destroyed. Did you win the first game? Yeah, but you got absolutely pommeled in those last 2 games in a manner that shows that you clearly are not the better team here. And you can go to blame only reason you won the first game is because Washington had to travel across 3 different time zones. Like
Yeah,
that's I think it's a fair assessment is that they were tired for that game, and now once they got adjusted to Eastern time zone, they were able to absolutely destroy the Hoosiers, unfortunately. And it goes back to pitching, but also hitting didn't really show up in this series ever. A bad series. They did eventually get a bounce back win against Wright State in the middle of
yeah,
the week, where they did
right.
win, and they went 2-2 on the week. but starting 1-2 in Big Ten play, it does not look good for the Hoosiers right now.
And the next series they play is in Oregon, so that flips from the Washington game, where now they're going to be at the time zone disadvantage. And is that going to be enough to make them swept against Oregon?
It it's scary. I they cannot get swept in a series. That's just not a thing you can afford to do. So I it's scary. They have to find a way to get 2 wins realistically. You want to get back to 500 in Big Ten play, and it just doesn't seem like something they're probably going to be able to do. It seems like one of those seasons where IU fans are just looking forward to next year. Hopefully, is what it feels like currently. It's still early season, but
Very early, yeah.
it's not been a good showing so far.
Yeah, and it comes off of a non-conference start that had a lot of hope because of the quality of opponents they were playing. And then they just kind of haven't backed up the preseason hype to say, it's mildly disappointing because you kind of had that hype around the team. You're thinking, hey, this team could do something pretty good in the Big Ten, and then it just kind of doesn't, it crumbles and it doesn't act the same way.
Yeah, I do let's not be all completely negative because I do want to
Right.
shout out one thing that does exist. And I'm gonna shout out our friend Jack Rizzo who is covering this team who brought this to me. Gavin Siebold, who last year started out as a starter for the team, and then they
Hmm.
moved him into the bullpen last year, and he was dominant in the bullpen last year. Has been
Yeah.
moved once again to the bullpen this year and he has pitched 13.2 innings, by far the most out of a bullpen pitcher, and given
Yeah.
up 0 runs. He has a .95 whip. He's just been
Oh.
absolutely filthy. He has 15 strikeouts in those 13.2 innings, so more than one strikeout per inning. Just been absolutely awesome,
Mhm.
and I think he deserves to be shout out in the pitching staff.
And someone else in the pitching area that should be shouted out is Brain Thomas. The
Yeah,
batting average against him is 177. Now his ERA is a 3.12, but I mean he's been given some solid innings. He's at 17 innings. He's only allowing 177 against him. That's pretty good.
yeah,
Now he does have the 12 walks, which
yeah.
is
I was gonna.
fantastic. But
That's the one thing with him is he's not giving up hits, but he is walking probably too many batters. He has a bit of a control problem, is what that can suggest.
yeah,
But
you
yeah, I
got
mean, yeah, overall, the IU the IU pitching staff, they get a lot of crap right now because they haven't, as a whole, they haven't been good. But there are some
individuals.
individual
Yeah.
performances that are deserving of shout outs. The problem here is that you have a guy down the list of the ERA, if you go down to 13.5, who has given up 11 innings with a 13.5 ERA, a 2.56 whip. He's allowed 18 or 17 total earned runs, 24 hits. Just, I,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Reagan Rivera just
Yeah.
has struggled all year. I do believe he is today's starter also at Oregon. It is something that just overall the team he needs to be able to figure it out because that's just not a that those are not stats that you can put out on the field.
Yeah, those are stats that if anybody else maybe was putting those up, they might be done for the season because those are that's I through 11 innings pitched, your ERA should start to level out. That's not just one bad inning. This is a series of bad innings that has continued to make his stats look worse
Yeah,
and worse.
and it's not like he's a young guy either. He's a fifth year senior. He's a grad student here at IU, so it's just he's gotta be able to figure something out. Get
Yeah.
his stuff going. We'll see if today. I do believe he is the or projected starting pitcher tonight. If he can get anything going, that would be huge.
Yeah, it's something that needs to happen. The pitching needs to be stepped up. Reagan Rivera needs to step up and play the way that this IU pitching staff believes he can if they keep putting him in the spot to pitch. There is something about him that the pitching staff is like, he has the ability to play well, so we're going to put him in situations that we need him to play well, and he has not delivered for them yet, which is unfortunate, but it needs to start happening.
Yeah, it I don't know how much more there is to stress about it. It's just
Yeah.
I it sucks for him that he is the guy that has to get coined here, but also he deserves it with the numbers he's put up and the total innings also, because everybody else on the list that far down just doesn't have 11 innings pitched because they don't deserve
Mhm.
it. And so there's two ways this goes: is either he needs to get less innings, or just he needs to step up and start performing in those innings he is given.
Yeah, and otherwise in the fielding area, there's not a lot to complain about. Everyone that's starting has a 900 or above. So there's some guys in there that only have a few reps that are under 900, but their fielding is pretty good. They don't have a huge number of errors. They're just kind of giving up a lot with extra base hits, and
Yeah.
yeah,
No, absolutely. And the fielding is something that went viral early on the year when they choked the North Carolina game early in the year with a absolutely dud of a throw from second base to first base, which is one of the most
yeah,
routine plays you can make. And I think since then the fielding has gone quiet, which is a good thing. You want your fielding to go quiet because that means you're probably doing really well. And I think
yeah.
they've stepped up their fielding as a whole.
Yeah, the only time that fielding really gets mentioned is when it's awful, or you have a player like PCA who has
Sure.
80 outs above average or something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
somebody who just is a Gold Glove winner caliber, sure, but
Right.
you typically want the guys to just they're just doing their job and nobody hears about it because they're good at it.
Yep. Yeah, yeah,
It's similar to
it's better
like
to hear nothing than to
it's
hear a lot.
yeah, it's similar to like a kicker in the
Yeah,
NFL. They don't get a lot of praise if they're good because they're just good and you don't really talk about them, but they get a lot of hate if they're bad because you're going to hear about all the misses they have.
yeah. In the same way, the stars excel, like Cam Little hitting 365 plus kicks this year.
Yeah, he deserves to be shouted out.
Wow, absolutely insane. And another disappointing team that happened this year is the IU men's basketball. Their season is wrapping up unless they get an absolute Hail Mary of a bid to the March Madness tournament, which is very, very, very unlikely. Their season's probably over. They went
Yeah.
18 and 14, 9 and 11 in conference. And I think you said they went 6 and 1 in the last, or 1 and 6
1
in the
and
last
6, yeah. If
1
they
and
went
6.
6 and 1, they'd be in the tournament.
Right.
But yeah, I saw on Twitter IU or there it was a meme template that was uh how every time a bubble team loses, things keep popping up about maybe IU can sneak into the tournament, and then it's IU fans like screaming, saying no, 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 because we don't want that. At this
Yeah,
point, we
we
don't
don't.
want to be in the tournament. We don't want to get embarrassed because we know we probably will. At this point, we don't deserve the tournament. We went 1 and 6 in the final 7 games. That's not tournament worthy. They they knew that they probably just had to win 3 of the last 7 games down the stretch here to make the tournament, maybe even two, and they won one. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just there's not a ton to be excited about. I think a lot of this goes to the fact that Lamar Wilkerson is a great player, but that is all they had, and he's not a player that can carry a team into the tournament because he doesn't elevate the guys around him. He is individually really great, and he's really good to have on a team, but you
Yeah.
need other good players around him. And as a whole, the team just did not come to fruition. It never felt like they got better after a loss, which I think that's
Mhm.
the biggest complaint is like wins obviously are great, but losses, there are lessons to learn in every loss you have. Like there's a reason you lost the game and you should learn from that. It didn't feel like IU ever improved off of a loss in this season, and it just they had one stretch throughout the season where they beat Rutgers, Purdue, and UCLA, and then they lost to USC,
Mhm.
beat Wisconsin, Oregon. And then after that, so that was a stretch where it was like, okay, yeah, we should be a tournament team. After that, they go 1 and 6, and a lot of them were blowouts, and they end it 74-61 to a bad Northwestern team. Just an
Yeah.
embarrassing end to the season.
Yeah, going off what you said about not learning from a loss, they lost to Northwestern February 24th, 68 to 72. And then when it comes time for Big Ten tournament time, March 11th, they lost 61 to 74, putting up less points and losing by more.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
I mean, it's a gut check for IU because for most of the season they were a better team than Northwestern. I don't think you can say they're a better team than Northwestern. Northwestern beat them 2 times down the stretch. Northwestern basketball is a better basketball team at the end of the year than IU was, and that is just a fact, and it's something IU has to live with now. That is what they did at the end of the year. That's what happened. Nick Martinelli averages more points per game than Lamar Wilkerson does. That's Northwestern's star player. He averages actually the most points in the Big Ten. Northwestern just has nothing behind him. It's kind of a
Yeah.
similar to IU's situation where it's like one player carrying all the load, but
Hmm.
they did it better at the end of the year. And I mean, they won 2 games in the tournament. They ended up losing to Purdue yesterday, but so they will also be eliminated and their season's also over. But at the end of the day, that's a team that's better than IU right now. There are probably 11 teams in the Big Ten better than IU right now, and that's just the fact that the sad reality that it is.
And it's a phrase that it's hard to beat a team twice. And for Northwestern, it wasn't hard to beat IU twice, and that shows how much either how much better Northwestern is than IU, or maybe the more accurate statement is how much IU was falling apart at the end of the season. That they could not get their team to play well together. They could not create a game plan that made Lamar Wilkerson have as many shots as he needed to have, or get him open as he needed to be. There's just so many problems that arose at the end of the season, and it's such a tough look for them. But Big Ten tournament is still going on. I think Michigan just beat
Absolutely.
Ohio State, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The other
Michigan just beat to move on to the semifinal round. Michigan beat Ohio State. They will face the winner of Illinois, Wisconsin, which is currently going on as we speak. It is 29-25 with 4:20 left in the
okay.
first.
Yeah, and then the other games are not today.
No, there's 2 more games later today. Everybody
Okay,
plays the Big Ten format. You play every day.
I see it now.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, Purdue, Wisconsin is
Purdue's
tonight
that.
at 6:30, and then the late night game at 9 p.m. is UCLA versus Michigan State.
Okay, yeah, that's gonna be tough games there. I think at this point, there's no easy games left. I think we were talking
No,
about this earlier. One team seeds 1 through 8 are still in. This is
absolutely.
a tough bracket now. It's anybody's tournament realistically right now.
Yeah,
There's some people that are long shots, but anybody could win it right now.
yeah, I mean, the longest shot left in the tournament probably is UCLA, but I don't think anybody would be like absurdly shocked if UCLA won the tournament because I mean, that's a team who's probably going to be like a 7 seed in the Big 10 or not Big 10 in the NCAA tournament. That's still
Hmm.
a very good team. And so nobody's going to be like flabbergasted if UCLA somehow pulls it off. I just overall it's been a really fun tournament. I think if I had to predict stuff, I would say, I mean, the heavy favor is obviously Michigan, but they didn't look that great today. It's going to be tough to predict, but
Hmm.
I think I'm going to trust that Michigan, who's been the most dominant Big Ten team. I mean, they won the Big Ten by 4 games. They've been the most dominant. I think they'll beat the winner of Wisconsin/Illinois to make the final, and I'm going to say they're going to get to face off against Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to put it together, and that will be your championship game.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. If I'm reading this right, it could be a Michigan State
It could
championship
be
game.
absolutely.
It could be. And that would also be another great finish to this tournament because it's a rivalry and
Yeah.
also because those teams are very good teams. I don't know if Michigan State's quite on the quality of Michigan, but having that run of playing games allows you to build momentum that you could beat a higher tier opponent just off of sheer hatred in the rivalry and
Oh yeah.
momentum that you build up through other teams.
Yeah. If you haven't been paying attention to the Michigan State games this year, it's probably been the most heated rivalry in the Big Ten at least this year. I think IU Purdue historically has the rivalry, but this
Mhm.
season I don't think IU put up enough fight. I mean, I know they won a game, but it
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, we were at that game. It didn't feel like pure total hatred throughout
Mm-mm.
the game. And then the second game was just an absolute blowout. Michigan and Michigan State, their coach Dusty May and and coach Tom Izzo have been chirping at each other throughout the year. Like there is clear rivalry hatred. If you get a third matchup between those two teams, that will be a must-watch game. And if we get that, we will be reacting to that right after because we have some exciting news, which is the fact that we will go live right after the Big Ten championship game finishes. We will be going live for Selection Sunday as the bracket comes out, and then so we'll react to the Big Ten championship game. We'll be live for Selection Sunday, and we will fill out our bracket live here on Mic'd Up, and that's just a really exciting thing. We might even have a special guest in this show. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a very exciting show because it's live as it's happening, content coming out. It's perfect. It's a perfect time to be going live. It's
Yeah,
also having a guest on would be terrific. It would be such a great show. Still working that out. Still hoping to have that happen, but it's going to be a fantastic show.
yeah. We can't guarantee that it'll be a guest, but we will guarantee that we will be live. It will probably be somewhere around 5:30 on Sunday because the game's at 3:30. Truly, we don't know the exact time though because it will
Yeah,
be after that game ends. That will be when we go live. So, probably like 5 to 10 minutes after that game it ends more realistically speaking. But after that game comes to the end, we will go live. We're going to have a lot of fun. It won't be it will maybe be a little bit more loose of a show because we won't have as much preparation for the show because the content we're going to be talking about will be coming out live and we will be as surprised as you guys will be. So that will be a
yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah. And I think we're kind of out of men's basketball stories.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit of professional Indiana. Let's talk about the Colts signing both Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones to
And
really expensive contracts.
can I stop you right now also because before we talk about those, we got some breaking news.
Do
The
it.
Colts just signed former Bears safety Jonathan Owens to a 1-year deal. Simone Biles might be coming to games in Indy.
Wow.
So
That is
I
that
think
is
that's
in
pretty
fact
huge
breaking.
news. It's a 1-year deal. I don't know what the deal is. It's probably really cheap. But Simone Biles might be stopping by in Indy a lot this year, and that's pretty exciting for Indianapolis.
That is pretty exciting. Jonathan Owens is a great role player. He's not a superstar, but he has great reps out of both Chicago and Green Bay is where he's played.
Yeah.
He's got great reps there. He's going to be a great role player for
He will be a rotational safety
yeah.
and he'll bring in a celebrity to the stadium also. So that's overall just a good move.
Yeah. So let's go to Alec Pierce, the other side of the ball. Alec Pierce and Daniel
Absolutely.
Jones have agreed to contracts with the Colts. Now Daniel Jones had already been given 38 uh 38 million for something, somewhere around 30 million
Yeah.
for a franchise tag, and now he's at 38 million with the free agency deal
Yeah.
is
It's
what I
been
think it
bumped
is.
up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So he's got
mean,
a 2-year deal.
I mean, absolutely he does. I mean, that is Indiana Jones we're talking about. I mean, I think I'm predicting what everybody's predicting, which is he's going to come back and be great for 8 more games, and then maybe not so great for the other 9, but he'll be great for 8 games, and that's a lot. I mean, 38 million for 8 games is a pretty good deal, all things considered.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it because you're not willing to say it. Daniel Jones is not probably worth 60 million guaranteed, up to 100 million in bonuses. It's that is a stretch for Daniel Jones. I heard some uh, hopes coming into the offseason that Daniel Jones would get like maybe 20 million a year because he's coming off the Achilles. Uh, no, he gets both the franchise tag and then reorganizes that into a larger contract to stay with the Colts. While it is just 2 years, that is a benefit. It is just 2 years
Hmm.
that they have
Absolutely.
him locked in. So that is only the next 2 years that you're worrying about that. It also allows you time to adjust. If he's horrible, you only have dead cap for 1 year if you release him. And if he's amazing, you have him for an extra year on this contract that you can
Yeah.
then extend.
Absolutely. I think what you don't understand here is that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so since the Achilles tear, his second in his career, did not kill the man, I think he will come back and be a better football player, is what that saying is saying to me. So, like realistically speaking, we're like if I'm just being realistic here, we're probably getting a player of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes caliber for only 38 million. So I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And also another story out of Sauce Gardner's basement, Alec Pierce signs with the Colts
Yeah,
after being held.
absolutely. I mean, Alec Pierce, I think he said it. He was always going to stay in Indy. He just needed the money to get correct. He actually took, from the rumors I've heard, the Patriots offered him more money to go there than what we gave him. So
Well,
he
that's good for them.
he wanted to stay in Indy. Makes sense because now this is slightly unfortunate for this show, but his younger brother is going to be a Purdue basketball player this next year. So it's
Ah,
slightly bad news for this show, but it is good for Alec Pierce being a Colt. So that helped. But yeah, I'm conflicted because I love Alec Pierce and it's what you had to do. You had to keep Alec Pierce. You cannot let that guy walk. He's probably the second most valuable player on the team. So I'm really happy you signed him. The only problem is you did spend this much money to not get better because you're just
mhm.
re-signing a guy you already had. The team is not going to be better because of this move. It's not going to be worse either, but the Colts moves that they have made this free agency are not to make the team better. They're just to stay the same.
Well, hold on, because the team when healthy was 8-1.
This is true.
So how can you say that they wouldn't want to stay where they are? That this team was not built to go, what would that be? Maybe 10-2, 10-2 there down the stretch, go
I
down even
I mean,
further.
I think they clearly were going to be a 14-3 Super Bowl champion if no injuries happened. And I think everybody agrees. Like Seahawks fans even agree. They actually I think Seahawks fans told like I know some Seahawks fans I'm pretty sure told me that like they kind of wish the Colts had the championship trophy because it was like a Mickey Mouse championship for them and it looks bad for them. So everybody knows that the Colts are going to be right back into competition this next season and I mean, absolutely, they're going to be competing for a championship. I I mean, I think they're the betting favorite probably right now. I haven't actually looked at the Vegas odds at all, but if I made the odds, I'd put them as favorite. They were 8-1 when healthy.
And so let's also talk about where Fernando Mendoza is most likely to end up. The Las Vegas Raiders have turned their team around this offseason. Uh,
Well, kinda.
besides the one issue, they need to get rid of Max Crosby, or they're going to be in cap hell. They are going to be absolutely unable to pay the contracts that they have. They need to get rid of Max Crosby. They need to trade him. They need to have space for the players they sign. They have signed so many players or re-signed so many players. I mean, Tyler Lindenbaugh, 3 years, $81 million. Quiddy Pay from the Colts, 3 years, 48 million. Quay Walker, 3 years, 40 million. Kobe Dean, 3 years, 36 millions. Jalen Naylor, a new target for Mendoza, possibly 3 years, 35 million. Connor Hayward, Connor Hayward from the Steelers coming in to play the fullback position for 2 years and $5 million. Matt Gay is coming in.
Oh,
Uh,
heck yeah, he is.
Dereke Young, terms not disclosed yet. I mean, these guys are coming in. They've re-signed Eric Stokes. Uh, they have Max Crosby for now. He might be on the move. He might be staying there. Uh, I know the Raiders said they're looking to keep him at this point, but they're still hearing offers. But hearing offers means they're still looking to see what they can get. I think I heard that they still want a first and a first, despite the failed physical, but we'll see what they get if they do decide that they can move him.
And I'm going to put the offer out there right now. I don't have any authority to do this for the Colts organization, but I am currently offering the Colts sixth round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers for Max Crosby. I I don't know if I have the authority to do that, but Tom Brady, if you are out there, I right now am offering a sixth round pick for Max Crosby. You guys have to dump the cap because
Yeah,
I mean, as we just listed, all those contracts you signed, you can't afford Max Crosby anymore. But the
yeah,
Colts, however, they dumped a little bit of salary this offseason, which was it as to see it seems like it was to sign Trey Hendrickson, as a lot of reports are saying we had the number 2 offer until the Ravens lied about a physical and then signed Trey Hendrickson. And so now we will trade for Max Crosby if they will accept the 6th round pick.
Yeah, that is one of the stories of this season is that the Ravens have presumably forcibly flunked a physical in order to back out of a trade. Physicals, there is no regulation on them. You can pass them or fail them with pretty much anything. You can
Yeah.
have a torn MCL and pass it. You can have nothing wrong in your body and fail it. It really depends on if the team is worried or not about you. And the Ravens were apparently worried about the injury that Max Crosby is returning from. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, the injury that everybody knows he had. It just it seems a little bit suspicious because it feels like they realized, "Oh, we could sign an edge rusher, keep our 1st round picks, sign him for even cheaper than what Max Crosby was going to be and just keep the 1st round picks." And that's what they did. And is he a better player than Max Crosby? No, Trent Hendrickson is a worse player than Max Crosby. But he's cheaper and he didn't cost them 2 1st round picks. And to me, it just seems like they eventually realized that. And I mean, okay, the doctor didn't lie. Like, Max Crosby is not fully healthy yet, but the
yeah,
Ravens knew that when trading for him. He's
right,
very like, it's well known that he was injured. He will be ready come training camp, and
right.
the Ravens just decided to use it as an excuse to back out.
Yeah, and the Ravens have done this before with receivers. One time before in the 2010s. I don't remember who it was, but that has been brought up because of this situation. It might be a potential rule change that comes next year because of this instance with a superstar player and people maybe even spending money on jerseys that are no longer useful. Uh,
Did you see the
this
guy
seems
on Twitter?
I did not.
There was a guy on Twitter who had tweeted out. He's a Ravens fan account. Tweeted out
Yes.
before the trade, if the Ravens trade for Max Crosby, I'll go bald. So then he went bald, and then like a day later, the physical thing happened, and it's so funny now because
Yeah.
there's just a bald Ravens fan walking around now, and that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, it was looking really bad for Joe Burrow there for a second. I mean, every other team in his division has maybe you could argue a top three edge rusher
Yeah,
in.
it was scary for him. It's still not looking great because like now his former teammate is chasing after him, and probably his former teammate probably knows the offensive line pretty well because he played against them in practice. So it's
Yeah,
probably still not great for the Bengals and Joe Burrow.
yeah, yeah.
It's better than Max
Getting,
Crosby.
I saw that the Ravens GM said we were already talking to Trey Hendrickson when we traded for Max Crosby. We were thinking about putting them both together.
Oh,
No,
I'm
we
sure they
weren't.
were.
No, you weren't. No, you were not.
I mean, if he said it, we must believe it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you I think that's perjury, right? Lying. Like that's not
Well, they're
legal.
not under oath, so
I think they should all be under oath.
okay, yeah, yeah, and I think this season, this off season has been full of moves. There's so many things going on. Something we forgot to talk about is the Michael Pittman trade. The Colts dumped Michael
Ooh.
Pittman for Michael Pittman and a seventh for a sixth round pick. Wow, what a
Yeah, we
valuable
did.
sixth round pick. Wow.
Yeah, I would like to grade this one as a Colts fan. I think the Colts get a B simply
Yeah,
because they dumped the cap, but we don't know what we spent the cap for, so I'm just giving it like a normal grade because I have no clue what we've done this for yet. Because I think we were doing it for Trey Hendrickson. That failed. Now what are we doing it for? We have to sign somebody with that cap space, hopefully.
yeah,
It will get an F if we don't spend anyone with that cap space because that's really dumb to do. Unless the 6th round pick becomes awesome.
yeah.
Then I would like to give the Steelers an A because I don't think there's any like pain. They lost a sixth. They gained our seventh. They moved back. I think it was only like 20 spots in the draft for Michael Pittman. That's pretty good, all things considered. They need receiver desperately. The Colts
Yeah.
also did this because they don't really need receiver desperately. Michael
Right.
Pittman is a receiver who is average at basically everything, But because he is average at basically everything, the Steelers will really like that and need that. So it's a thing the Colts didn't really need. It's a thing the Steelers desperately needed. It's a good trade, most likely for both teams, assuming the Colts use that cap space for something.
Yeah, and the Steelers really needed a receiver. Calvin Austin is on the move. They didn't really have a great second after that. Um, they had they have Roman Wilson back there who hasn't played many downs. It's a problem
But
that
he's a
they just
college champion.
he is he is, but he also hasn't played more than 20 downs. I'm guessing in the 2 3 years he's been on a roster. Uh,
Yeah, I guess. If you
yeah,
care about snaps played,
I think in receiver you would care about snaps played, yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
you're forgetting about his practice squad snaps played. He probably has played a few.
oh
That's
yeah,
at least five more.
at least yeah. So it was a problem for the Steelers. Getting Michael Pittman is great because they already have the huge deep threat guy with DK, and then they have more of a route runner, more of a middle of the field catch, Michael Pittman, and that's a great thing that they needed. Their Steelers needed help on wide receiver, and I think they got it there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Now let's quickly do a section where we just give our grades to some of these like bigger signings that, or at least bigger in the news signings that have happened. So I'm gonna toss one up to you. The first one, DJ Moore signing with the Bills, or sorry,
Oh,
trade to the Bills.
yes. I think that is a let's go with an a B plus for the Bears because the
Okay.
Bears they already have a really stacked receiver room. They get a little bit out of it. They don't get what did they get out of it again? Do you
They got a
know?
second,
Got a second.
which is
That
pretty
is pretty
good.
good.
That's a
Yeah. So
good
maybe
player, hopefully, for them to
yeah,
draft.
but DJ Moore is also a huge player for them. It is
Absolutely.
a big loss to them, but they also have the people to fill in that gap, hopefully, and step up and play tremendous. I think they've got the picks to fill in that gap, even if they the receivers they have don't step up. For the Bills, I would give that probably a B minus. I feel like they gave up a lot for someone on the end of their career. The Bills kind of needed receiver. They
Yeah,
absolutely needed it. It's
sure.
a good player to put in there. He's kind of a large cap hit. He's a very large cap hit. Um, it it might hurt them, but also they needed a receiver bad.
It's a scary trade, but also I feel like almost everybody would have done it as a GM of the Bills
Mhm.
because you have to help out Josh Allen a little bit. Last year, he was doing it all on his own, except
Yep,
for, I mean, he had a really good running back in James Cook, but everything in the passing game, he was basically creating. He had to extend plays for like 7 seconds to get a receiver to get open, and
yep,
so just getting him a potential playmaker is something you kind of had to do. But overall, I think I'm with you on those grades. I think that's exactly where I would put it. I think the Bears win it slightly, but also the Bears might lose it if they fail to draft a good player in the second round. So
right,
this could be regraded, and the Bears draft an absolute bust in the second round, and then it doesn't matter. But as it
yeah,
stands right now, I think the Bears will probably draft a playable player. They don't really need it. They didn't need DJ Moore. They dropped some cap also with it. It just overall helps them out a lot.
yeah.
All right, I got one more or another next one for us. Malik Willis signing to the
Mm.
Dolphins on a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, 45 million guaranteed.
Okay, so that's around 15 million a year guaranteed. Um, that is for me. I think I'm going to go B plus here.
Okay.
It fills the absolute need of a quarterback that the Dolphins had, but also Malik Willis has only played a handful of games where he's looked incredible, and that's a 15 million is a lot to pay for someone who's only looked
Totally.
incredible a few times. But also, Green Bay is really good at developing quarterbacks. Like they just kind of
This is
go
true.
back to back to back with their quarterbacks. Brett Favre on to Aaron Rodgers, on to Jordan Love, and then when Jordan Love goes down, Malik Willis pops up and he's like, "Hey, I'm pretty good at this football stuff." And then he's now on to a new contract with the Miami Dolphins, and Miami. can we give a grade to Malik Willis here? This is an A plus for Malik Willis.
Oh yeah,
He
for
gets to
Malik,
he,
yeah,
he
that's
gets
a
to
lot of
go
money.
to Miami and he gets 15 million a year guaranteed for the next 3 years. This is a great fill for him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be a little lower on it simply because I think the Dolphins should be looking at this next year as they should be bad and then get a quarterback in the draft next year. And this is
Yeah.
saying they're not doing that because they just signed a guy to 3 years. This is saying we think Malik Willis is the guy for 3 years, and I just don't know if I believe that. I could be wrong. This could be a like everyone now because Sam Darnold has had this major success is wondering who's the next Sam Darnold. Maybe it is Malik Willis, but maybe there is no next Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold was a wild coincidence. That could be
Yes.
a thing, and the Dolphins might learn the harsh reality that that might be true. So I'm going to give it like a C plus C.
Yeah, because it is kind of a topic that's popped up is that everyone wants the second-hand quarterback now because they've already had pro reps, they're pro ready, they're not as much of a risk. You know what you're getting. But maybe that's not the case for every quarterback. Maybe it's Sam Darnold that is doing fantastic on his own outside of the Jets organization and maybe also the Panthers organization he wasn't fantastic with.
Yeah,
But it's it it will pan out one way or another. I think I to respond to you, I think 15 million a year is not enough that they won't immediately draft a quarterback if they suck this year.
that's fair. Yeah, they could cut him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all right. Next one I got here for us is Romeo Dobbs. A very
Mm,
interesting contract with the Patriots. 4 years, 70 million, so not a ton. But the
yeah.
Patriots did this after offering the guy we've talked about, Alec Pierce. They offered
Yeah.
him more money than the Colts ended up giving Alec Pierce. They ended up going with their backup option, which was a significantly cheaper backup option. I
Yeah.
think this is honestly a major win for the Patriots. They had barely any receiving talent last year outside of Stephon Diggs, who's at the very end of his career. They
Hmm.
just Drake May was doing a lot with not great receivers. You had to get him a little bit of receiver help. I still think they might draft a receiver also. I think they're totally willing to do that. And this contract does not like handcuff you financially. It's a pretty solid contract. And Romeo Dobbs has been a good player when he's
Yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where to grade this at because they do release Stephon Diggs. They
Yeah.
have right now Kayshon Boutte and Mac Hollins are the two names that I know that are Patriots wide receivers, and they aren't like incredible. Mac Hollins had a good Super Bowl, but other than that, it just kind of feels like their wide receiver room is a little lackluster. They need a little spark. And it is clear that this was option number two for them. Alec Pierce was definitely who they wanted, and it doesn't work great for them that they did not get him.
Yeah, absolutely. It and the idea of Alec Pierce and the Patriots is also terrifying because Drake May throws such a beautiful deep ball that and Alec Pierce is like top three in catching deep balls like in the league. If you think like everyone thinks of him as pretty much just a deep ball guy, I think he has a little bit more versatility to him than just deep balls. But man, is he good at catching the deep ball? And so that would have been a great idea. But overall, that didn't work out. He re-signed with the Colts. The next one I have here, a absolute massive one. The reigning Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker III, signs with the Kansas City Chiefs on a 3-year deal worth up to 45 million with 28.7 of that guaranteed.
Wow, wow, wow. I mean, where do you start with this? Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker is on a different team. As the Seattle Seahawks, how do you let that happen? How do you
For
not prioritize him over
for
so many other people?
for like not that much money. Like it
15
because running
million is
backs
not
just
that
don't
much.
get paid that much. So
Yeah.
just and Zach Charbonnet is not better than Kenneth Walker, and they're going to
No,
learn
no,
that
no,
harsh
no.
reality real quick, I think.
Yeah, Kenneth
But
Walker should still be the starter for the Seattle Seahawks, but this is also absolutely incredible for the Kansas City Chiefs. This puts them right back into contention when everyone's like, "Oh, the dynasty is ending." Nope,
nope.
it is right back where it started. They have an absolute elite elite running back with an absolute elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, anything is possible. I mean, if you really want to think about it like this, the, they have a perfect RPO system right now. They have mediocre wide receivers. They have an all-time great tight end with Travis Kelsey, and then they have Kenneth Walker, who can do pretty much anything out of the backfield. He is such a perfect fit for them. And I know the RPO will not come in play as much as college ball, but they are in a perfect setup for that, which is why I
Yeah,
mentioned it.
and also the other thing to think about, like, sure, Kenneth Walker's going to be great in the backfield in terms of handoffs, but I feel like he's also going to be absurd in the receiving game, especially in the scenario where Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks at extending a play. Imagine the picture of Mahomes extending the play, scrambling out of like 3 sack attempts and dumping it off to a wide open Kenneth Walker, who now has like 15 yards of open field and then makes it 30 yards because Kenneth Walker's a freak athlete. Like, that is the scenario I think we're now living in, and that's very scary for the rest of the league. I think this is an A plus 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 deal for the Chiefs. It just
Yeah.
fell into their pockets, and it's an awesome player to fit right in.
Yeah, and it felt like they got the deal done so quick. I think he wanted to go there. He wanted to go to a Super Bowl contender, most likely,
Which is very
because
interesting because he was on a Super Bowl contender, but we'll leave that aside.
right. But I think that's more on the Seahawks than on him.
Yeah.
And it's clear he knew where he was going to go because that was one of the first deals made this offseason, maybe the first. It was clear that he was going there, and it was kind of shocking when it came across my phone. I don't know about you, but I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I was just like, "Ah, dang it." Like, they got him."
yeah." As a Steelers fan, I was kind of thinking, daydreaming about another Michigan State running back coming to the Steelers who just loves to run the ball. But it was a delusion. It wasn't a likely item to happen. Especially, they did get Rico Dowdle, who is he's pretty good. He'll be a good Steelers running back. He'll
Absolutely,
be
yeah.
the rotation between him and Warren. I liked Rico Dowdle at the Panthers, so we'll see what he does for the
Yeah,
Steelers.
that was one I was surprised the Panthers let him go away because I thought the Panthers were building something, and I thought having Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle was a big part of that, and I guess they did not think so.
Yeah, or they think that they can get a sixth round running back like every team has started to feel like they could do.
This is also a fair take. Now, I think we got one more uh signing that I want us to talk about, which is Mike Evans heading to the Niners. It's a 3-year deal. Right here, I am not seeing the financial numbers. I don't know if we have that yet, but it is a 3-year deal. Mike Evans, who has been a 1,000-yard receiver for his whole career except for last year, just been an awesome receiver, but also hilariously has been recently one of the most injury ridden receivers. And now he is entering the team where you go to die in terms of like
Yeah,
hamstring or whatever, in terms of like your muscles. And
yeah,
that's just a very interesting, but also if the scenario is that he stays healthy, it's a great player for the Niners to add. They need a receiver like that, and that's a great weapon for Brock Purdy, especially if you think about being on the field, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and Mike Evans. Like, that's a lot of weapons for Brock Purdy to work with right there.
yeah. The this would get a pretty high grade from me, but Mike Evans is injury prone. He's getting old, and now suddenly the entire core of the San Francisco 49ers is old.
Yeah,
Um, they Brandon Ayuk is getting released sometime this week.
yeah,
They
he'll be
needed to
gone.
fill that hole, and they filled it with Mike Evans, who is a great player, and that is fantastic for them. I just think, depending on the numbers, this could be either good for them or bad for them.
Yeah,
Also, the Buccaneers did try to re-sign Mike
this
Evans,
is
but
true.
he wanted to go elsewhere, which is kind of like heartbreaking to hear that because he's been a Buccaneer for so long. But also, it does make
It
sense. They've kind of been stuck in the same spot for a while.
they
He,
Yeah, it feels like they're lined up to be mediocre again next year, and he doesn't want to be mediocre. And
yeah,
the Niners are a team that you can most of the time trust to, even with the injuries they receive, you can trust Kyle Shanahan to most of the time figure something out and win about 11 to 12 games.
Yeah,
So
the thing about the 49ers, I think the stat came out was that like for the last 12 years, they either make the NFC Championship or they don't make the playoffs. Uh,
that's true.
so you're getting success there, or you're not getting success there. You're either gonna go far or you won't. There's
Yeah,
no maybe second round exit. There's no wild card exit. They are either there or they aren't, and you'll know pretty early on in the season what they are.
absolutely. So
But I
I
think
think, yeah, if I had to give it a letter grade though, I'd probably go a B. Just it's like
mm,
we don't fully know yet, but I think it's assuming the financial situation doesn't like restrict them fully as a team, it will probably be around a B.
yeah, I would say so. I would say it's either like a B minus if they pay a lot for him. If they pay for a lot for him, it might be like a C plus, but I don't
Yeah,
think they're
if
doing
it's
that.
too much.
If they're paying a strong amount for him, I think it's like a B minus for me. But if they're paying like 5 million a year for him somehow, that'd be like an A plus for me. Fills a perfect hole, and it's cheap, and it's experience. I feel like that would be great for them, but it's probably somewhere in between a B minus and a B plus for me. And
Yeah.
I think that's going to be all for the show today. If you like the show, press the heart on the Mic'd Up app to be notified every time we go live. And if you're joining us elsewhere, thanks for listening. Next time you can download the Mic'd Up app and join us live every Friday at 3 p.m. EST. Thank you.